Gentlemen, I want to thank all three of you for being here. I really appreciate it. I want to ask the members that they'll be recognized, or tell the members they'll be recognized in order of seniority, as typical for our committee for questioning. If there is time for an additional round, we may allow that to happen. And again, we'll be recognized in order of seniority. I now recognize myself for my 5 minutes of questioning. Mr. Cabrera, and is that Cabrera, or how, I want to make sure I'm pronouncing your name correctly.
Cabrera is fine.
Cabrera, okay. Could you briefly talk about how the Border Patrol agents have been affected by the border crisis physically and mentally?
You know, physically, it's been a rough patch for us these last few years. We lost many agents to COVID. We lost quite a few to COVID. We've had a couple officer-involved deaths with, just recently in December, we lost an agent to a vehicle accident. On top of that, suicides. Border Patrol, I think, lost 17 people in the last year. Put that in perspective, the NYPD has 35,000 officers, I believe, more or less, and they lost 4. So it is a big issue. We see a lot of stuff out there that the average person doesn't see. I think that what hits folks hardest is what happens with the children we see. We see a lot of young kids coming across, 3, 4, 5 years old, 7 years old, that are unaccompanied. Their parents are already here in the United States, and they send them by themselves. And who knows about the hundreds, if not thousands more that never make it through. So that I think is more on the mental aspect of it, as well as some of the physical. It's a difficult job. It's increasingly getting harder by the fact that we're not put in a position to do the job that we were trained to do. I mean, I think the Border Patrol is the only union you're ever going to see in the history of unions that is actually asking for more work. We're just let us work, let us do our job. We don't care where you put the coffee pot. We don't care about lumbar supports for our chairs. We just want to go to work. And we're just asking that you let us work.
Well, I really appreciate that. Let me ask this question of you as well, sir. What do your agents share with you? What are their thoughts about the policy changes that occurred, in 21?
The morale is down. The morale is down significantly. If you look at our numbers now versus our numbers 2 years ago, you'll see that the numbers are lopsided. Most of our agents are frustrated with the job. They're frustrated with the fact that we're babysitters. Maybe 30 to 40% of our agents actually get out to the field on any given day, and then a lot of times they get called back in to process or transport somebody. So the real bad guys, the smugglers, the ones that are harming people, the people that are bringing in drugs into this country or trafficking in humans or kids, they're getting away, and that affects the agents in their desire to do their job. And you know, let's face it, if you have a young kid, say, that comes from Charlotte, North Carolina, and he joins the Border Patrol, and his wife comes down, say they go to Big Bend, and it's 2.5 hours to get to a Walmart, much less a hospital. The wife can't find a job because she can't speak Spanish. And then ICE comes around and says, hey, we'll give you more pay Monday through Friday, weekends and holidays off, and we'll get you back home. Of course they're going to jump ship. So we're not only losing seasoned agents, we're losing brand new agents. So there's no way we're going to catch up with that.
Let me ask Director McGraw a quick question. How much is DPS spending per month for border security, and how much was DPS spending before January 21?
Well, state legislature and the government have invested a lot of money over the years, and certainly $800 million in the Department of Public Safety alone. But when we saw the record numbers, and I say record numbers, 1.3 million apprehensions in Texas in 2021, and again 1.4 million in 2023. The governor and legislatures have dedicated billions of dollars now. So when we do these intensified operations and we continue to send troops down and conduct these around-the-clock operations, they're threefold of what they were before. Importantly, now we have the National Guard. and the state's paying for that National Guard. And it's a very important part of it because as Border Patrol and probably Chief Ortiz already talked about, you know, personnel, you got to have technology, you got to have infrastructure, and you also need doctrine, right? The correct doctrine and policies in place to be able to secure the border. And one last thing, I'd like to at least put a pitch in for Border Patrol. The federal government's always undervalued the patrol function. They always have, and don't recognize the post 9/11 environment, that patrol function, how important it is in terms of prevention. And certainly they do need to be on par with their other federal counterparts. We need more boots on the border, less wingtips, and you get right down to it. And that's really what, you know, Border Patrol brings us. So.
I got your reference. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Just to summarize that, it was your budget has had to go up 3 times, if I understood you correctly, not counting the National Guard's additional cost at the border.
At least threefold, exactly. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
All right, thank you. My time is up. I now recognize Chairman Higgins.